My name is Robert, and you're watching The Firing Line on VEGASET. Alright, welcome to our second segment. So, what we've got today is quite a few things going crazy in politics, but in tech, SpaceX in the news again. So we've got a few new things about Elon Musk's Starship rockets. His little SN10's got another engine problem. This is going to start to become a theme. Engine problem daily. Well, I mean, he's working on them, at least. Every engine, something goes wrong, so at least he's trying to get it done before he flies his next ship. So he can actually finally land the dang thing. So, he just stacked fire yesterday, I believe. 23rd. And he found out he's going to have to switch one of the engines out. On the SN8, when they swapped engines, it took about 20 days. SN9 took a day. Now, taking an hour. Taking less than 24 hours. So, at least they're getting good at that. I'm sure that's going to become its own full-time job, swapping out engines. Yeah. But, that's not the crazy thing. Elon has stated that those oil rigs he's bought, he's working to get one in operation by the end of this year. And not only that, he's going to build his starships at Boca Chica, test them out, then when they're all good with the Starship and the Super Heavy, he's going to launch them and have them land on the platforms. And once there, that's going to be their going point. And if there's any issues with the Starship engine, I'm guessing he's just going to have to ship them over on a ship. In a shipping lane. That's a palace ship. But that's just a little tidbit before we get into what I was going to really get into today. Something that deals more than just with tech, but back a little bit into politics and futurism. I call it the Millennium New Deal. It is the rebuttal to AOC's Green Bad Deal. With the Millennium New Deal, Part 1 is basically a Medicaid expansion that repeals Obamacare, or the Affordable Care Act, as it's legally known, but does something else as well. It expands Medicaid into a new type of system where you still have to qualify within the income levels, but after you get above the poverty level of the Medicaid currently, it switches to a new system where you would be paying a 7% premium based on what you make per month, up to an annual of $26,000 per person. Oh, and one more thing. This isn't about grossing. This is about net income. So after taxes, deductions, everything, that's what would count. and it would be set up to where it would be going through local health departments for the townships in each state. So there would be a basic funding mechanism requesting that everything be centered in this method. But here's another kicker. Net income after your utility bills and your rent or mortgage is taken out. So that way it helps even more. So if you make a grossing, say $30,000 per year, but you don't make that net after all that, then you would still qualify. And this is $26,000 per person. So if you have a wife, if you're married, that's $52,000 between the two of you. Or for the family, of course. Now, on to the next bout. If there's a disability, add $20,000 to that cap instantly. Asthma, amputation, cancer, what may have you, life-interrupting disabilities and diseases. Something that may be seen as a chronic illness. So this Medicaid expansion would eliminate the need for the whole Obamacare BS that is going on right now. But what it would also do is set up a change in how things play out insurance-wise. Because insurances that don't sign on to it for the Medicaid system, I mean, they would lose a lot of business and a lot of money that they would not otherwise lose by signing on to this aspect. They would be forced to lower their cost to the 7% net premium to where most people would be able to afford it again, because everything that Obamacare currently promises you and actually going and getting stuff, getting health care, what's going on with it? Seriously, what's going on with it? People are not able to get the care they need because their doctors don't like to sign on to certain insurances if they're going through the Obamacare system. If they're sold through the government's marketplace. But if insurances got those doctors back because the Obamacare system was gone, then there we go. And of course, there is another aspect to this. There are people who have these, what is called pre-existing conditions, which are these life-interrupting diseases and stuff. Guess what? Because of this expansion, they would be protected. So it would make the point moot entirely. And then, when people did not qualify and ended up going on to actual insurance, they would actually be rich enough to afford it. Because they would make $75,000 to $100,000 a year. So they would actually have the extra money to spend maybe $12,000 a month. Or not a month. $12,000 a year. Because as I've heard, depending on how old you are, it can be up to $1,000 per year. Now, next part of the Millennium New Deal. Debt relief. One-time relief package. Resets all the credit scores below 640 2640, eliminating all records of bad credit. Just that alone, eliminating all those records. Any losses would become a tax deferral, meaning any losses would be put on your taxes, so you wouldn't have to pay those taxes in the future. So you would make that entire amount back up by not having to pay those taxes. Now, on to another part. School debt relief. 5 years out of college and are unable to get substantial employment. Substantial is a key word. Debt relief. Wipeout. And what do you do with that? Those who had to give you all these classes that did nothing for you, they get punished. Because they did you wrong. You heard about the Trump University thing, where people couldn't get jobs? Well, think of the same thing, but with all the other universities. Like you see Berkeley in California, and all these other universities around the U.S. Think if they did that as well. Now, medical debt relief as well is another thing. For any and all of those who qualify for the Medicaid expansion, instant medical debt relief. And I'm going to continue in a third segment tonight. So, see you there.